with over 55 killed just today. Is this policy rooted in strategy and a way of politically pressuring the other side in the talks, as they're talking in Washington now, Netanyahu and Trump?
Actually, if you are talking about the people, yes, the people are tired. If you are talking about the humanitarian situation, it's really collapsed. Not today, not since a year ago, maybe more than that. We are now talking about the day 643 of this war. So yes, it's a very, very serious situation in a humanitarian level. But if you want me to be honest, 77 years ago, third of the Palestinian people were killed. The other third was transferred out of Palestine. And the third that left on Palestine are struggling till now to have their independent state. So it's not an easy it's not an easy question. I know that the Palestinian case is a very, very complicated. And when we are talking about accepting the Israeli condition, we are talking about accepting the occupation. Yes, Israel very strong military state, and we have
backed by the United States,
this,
Dr. Ms.
Yes,
Nacha, backed by the United States.
They are very strong.
They can destroy Palestine.
They can kill all the Palestinian as well. They can transfer maybe half of the Palestinian as well. Yes, they can do all of these things. But is it acceptable for the Palestinian to sign on for occupation, re-occupation, the Palestinian territory? They can't. Can they sign for letting their rights, historical rights? No, they can't. So you ask us for a lot. And it means a lot for the Palestinian, these conditions. So it's really very complicated. We need, like, the United States to behave like a great state and to walk forward to stable situation in the Middle East. And that needs to be, or this need that the United States can implement a real ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, and to implement a plan for the next day of this war that keep the Palestinian rights on their lands and their right of having a state. And in this way, we can have a real peace in the Middle East. We can achieve a stable situation in the Middle East. Without all of these things, nothing means that having no Hamas in Gaza Strip.
Got your point, Dr. Atiba. I'll be back again. Dr. Boudin.
And after Hamas, we will do as well. So you can't make real peace and stable situation just by ending Hamas from exist or having like a very tired and hungry people in Palestine. It's not the way. The real way is to have a real peace by having Palestinian state inside of the Israeli state. Without this solution, everything will collapse. If not in days or months, it will be in years.
Got your point, Dr. Atiba. Dr. Boudin, EU has reportedly reached an agreement with Israel to expand aid routes into Gaza and increase number of trucks to alleviate the humanitarian crisis. How do you view this diplomatic development and your take on Dr. Nacha's, of course, narrative?
Yes, we have to make a difference between the conditions of the ceasefire, the conditions of the ending of this war, the conditions of the peace in Palestine in general, and Gaza in particular. So the conditions are completely different from a step up to another. We are now talking about the conditions on the ceasefire, and here Hamas cannot dictate its conditions, and the points here is...
Dr. Boudin, there is a controversy now between you and Ms. Nacha. She says everyone can put his conditions at this point because no one has anything to lose. Israel is tired, the people of Palestine are tired and fed up, and atrocities and genocides are happening to them every day. And on the other side, Hamas and Israel have nothing to lose as well. So where do we stand at this point?
Yes, but on this,
how are we going to reach a ceasefire, and how is U.S. President Donald Trump optimistic to that extent?
yes, now there is pressure on Donald Trump to allow the humanitarian aid to be deployed in Gaza, at least partially. And one of the points is that there is nearly an agreement on this point. There is also an agreement on the freeing of 10 hostages, and there is an agreement to free some Palestinians. But now the point is deeper than that. The point is that nobody can impose on the Palestinians a solution, whatever it is. Why? Because Hamas cannot represent the Palestinian people today. Also, the PLO Abbas cannot represent the Palestinians today, and nobody can impose on the Palestinians unless they have a legitimate representative. Before that, and this is why the Palestine needs a state. The international community needs a state to be recognized internationally to negotiate a peaceful solution on peace base. This peace-based solution cannot be obtained without
55 Palestinians were killed today. Which peace solution and which ceasefire are we discussing? Not to mention, nothing have been revealed yet between Qatari and US and Israel when they are in discussions, sir.
Yes, it is true that Netanyahu, he doesn't want this solution to happen. And Netanyahu is doing everything he can to destroy any possible discussion. And the Qataris today with the US and with Netanyahu are discussing the ceasefire only. But the other part, the international community are still pushing to find a solution. It doesn't mean that we have to focus on the ceasefire only, but in parallel, we have the ceasefire discussions, but we have the solution discussion. Netanyahu doesn't want this aspect. We don't have to jump in the trap of Netanyahu and to say, oh, there is no possibility for a permanent solution. We have to continue to dig for this solution, and this solution we have to see a state of Palestine emerging and recognized by the international community to have the locus standi, to be part of the negotiations. If not, no solution can stand. And Trump knows that he will not obtain a solution if there is no legitimate authorities talking on behalf of the Palestinians. And the conditions here, there will not be a Riviera in Gaza.